Chapter 17 of John Smith's Funny Adventures on a Crutch, or The Remarkable Peregrinations of a One-Legged Soldier After the War. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by C. Cam. John Smith's Funny Adventures on a Crutch, or The Remarkable Peregrinations of a One-Legged Soldier After the War, by A. F. Hill. Chapter 17, Niagara Falls. On the following Wednesday morning, I took the accommodation train for Niagara Falls. When I say accommodation train, do not fancy that we went jogging along at the rate of 6 or 8 miles an hour. That is not the style of the New York Central. The accommodation trains make 20 miles an hour, including numerous stoppages, which is better time than is made by the express trains of some roads I have traveled on. So, I arrived at Niagara, 80 miles from Rochester, by 9 o'clock, where I left my trunk at an hotel and walked out to see the sights. It would be presumptuous in any man to attempt a regular description of Niagara Falls, with the expectation of doing the subject justice, much more so in the unpretending John Smith. No one can form a fair idea of the mighty cataract without having seen it, nor will one mere glance be sufficient. You may spend whole days there before you arrive at a just appreciation of it. The mind cannot grasp it at once. A friend had told me that I should, on first visiting Niagara, experience a sense of disappointment, that the falls would not appear quite equal to their reputation in my consequent anticipations, but that, by and by, as I should come to contemplate them more maturely, I should be led to regard them as infinitely grander and more majestic than my loftiest anticipations had painted them. I found it true. As the train approached, I heard the roar of the cataract, and saw the green waters tumbling down with their white robes of spray. But I somehow thought they did not come up to my expectations, or rather experienced a vague, indescribable impression that I had seen the like before. But when I walked down to the bank, stood in the midst of the mighty thunder, felt the earth tremble beneath the giant leap of the great river, saw the dashing spray arising like clouds of smoke and dust from the sudden ruin of some great city, when I remembered that for ages and ages, from time lost in dim obscurity, day and night, winter and summer, never ceasing, never tiring, the mighty waters had been tumbling and plunging down from the dizzy height, as now. And when I thought of the future, when I mused of the unknown ages to come, fancied generation after generation to have passed away, when I imagined this great round sphere to have made thousands of annual revolutions around the sun, and pictured the grand old cataract with none of its vigor lost in the maze of centuries, still thundering away with the same old strength, young, mighty, glorious, majestic as ever, then did I begin to realize the magnitude of the lofty cataract, the work of the Almighty Maker of heaven and earth, and feel the littleness, the nothingness of man. The following lines, written in the immediate presence of the great cataract by David Paul Brown, Jr., Esquire of the Philadelphia Bar, are highly worthy of perusal. Niagara, O Niagara, long thy memory will remain, a source of mingled wonder, of happiness and pain. When burst thine awful grandeur on my raptured, ravished sight, my senses broke from reason's chain in frenzied, wild delight. But as the godlike attribute resumed its sovereign sway, a calmer feeling soothed my breast, its tumult passed away. The spirit bowed, and then a tear, my nature was subdued. A thrill of awe swept through my frame, I worshipped as I viewed. A moment more I silent gazed, then humbly bent the knee, as in Niagara's mightiness I felt God's majesty. I saw his glory shining round where tremblingly I stood. I cast a glance to his bright realm, then on the foaming flood. And is there strength, I humbly asked, in the almighty will, to calm this boisterous element and bid its rage be still? To sweep it e'en from nature's face, but with a single breath, resistlessly as human life is swept away by death? And can Niagara not rebel with all its force and power, when crumbling nature shall give way at the appointed hour? Must its fierce torrent tamely hush its giants' rocks then fall? The still voice of my soul replied, Yes, yes, frail mortal, all. Then let me meekly bow the head before such power divine, the only power that never ends, Niagara's God and mine. I am sure you will not quarrel with me, reader, for introducing these graphic and eloquent lines, and for growing sentimental over my remembrance of Niagara Falls. They are too grand to be passed over lightly. Thus far, since my arrival at Niagara, you have not found much of the John Smithian tone in my narrative. I had heard a good deal about the Cave of Winds, and thought I would like to visit it. So after standing for a full hour, wrapped up in the glories of the thundering cataract, I inquired of a respectable-looking gentleman where the Cave of Winds was. You must go over on Goat Island to see that, he said, but I hope you don't think of going down. Oh yes, I replied. What, on one leg? Yes, I shall certainly take it with me. But it is dangerous. You will have to go down a steep flight of wooden steps and pass behind the sheet of water where you cannot stand up. The spray will blind you, and the wind will take your breath and lift you off your feet. Foot, I interrupted. Yes, will lift you off your foot. And one misstep is certain death. Many strong men with 2 legs are afraid to try it. They have 2 feet, and are therefore just twice as apt to slip or make a misstep. Well, he said, go and see it, and I don't believe you will venture down. A look down into it will satisfy you. It will remind you of all the accounts you have heard of Hades, where I thought water was not so plenty, I interrupted. You are ahead of me again, he said, laughing. Well, follow the bank of the river till you reach a bridge. That will take you over to Goat Island. Thank you. I walked up the shore of the river a little way and came to the bridge, a suspension bridge of 4 or 5 spans, and went over to Goat Island. This island divides the turbulent river just before it takes its fearful plunge into 2 cataracts. That on this side is termed the American Fall, that between Goat Island and Canada being termed the Horseshoe Fall because of its shape. The American Fall is 900 feet wide and 164 feet high, while the Horseshoe Fall is 2,000 feet wide and 158 feet high. By far the larger portion of the water tumbles over on the Canada side of the island, no doubt because the rocky bed of the river is 6 feet lower on that side. The cataract on either side, however, is stupendous enough for all practical purposes. In this connection, I am reminded of an anecdote with which I will conclude this chapter. 2 Yankees, one of a sentimental and the other of a practical turn of mind, were standing side by side, gazing on this prodigy of nature. How sublime, exclaimed the former, to think that it falls 164 feet at a single leap. What's to hinder it? Responded the other. End of chapter 17.